Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Protect your data and customers with premium security features like domain privacy and SSL encryption. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au. Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Protect your data and customers with premium security features like domain privacy and SSL encryption. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and apologies for the delay in getting this one underway this evening. We're having all sorts of technical issues here that we are trying our best to resolve, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. So hopefully the stream is holding up in some way, shape or form for you on your end. Very good evening to everyone joining us. This is the final round of the Domains2U MCV8 series here at Long Beach. My name is Jared Cole. I'm joined by Isaac Fogarty. I'm going to have to rush straight on into it because we are just about ready to get underway with the racing. This is a sprint round to finish us off. 3 19-lap races here at Long Beach. A street circuit to finish it off is always good fun, of course. Races 2 and 3 will have the reverse top 10 grid, and qualifying results are in. Drivers are on the grid getting ready to go, so we'll take a very, very quick look at how they've lined up after qualifying. On the front row, James Scott and Matt Bowler ahead of James Chastanov and Billy Mole. Then Sam Cullen and David Coleman line up ahead of Will Buchanan and Ben Morris, with Jamie Dyke and Thomas Hinds rounding out your top 10. Brett Loxton and Dane Snadden ahead of Ryan Nielsen and Dean Power. Then Josh Harrison, Simon Caplett on row 8, with James Doyle and Ryman Palmer behind them. Liam Jensen and Scott Watts rounding out your 20 drivers entered here this evening. And Isaac, despite all of the challenges we've had already this evening, this is going to be a cracker, I'm sure.
Yeah, good evening, Joe. Good evening, everybody. This will be an absolutely cracking race. Long Beach always provides, and yeah, it seems we've had a bit of a delay getting going this evening, but I don't think that will put take the skip out of anyone's step tonight, because this is going to be some electric action around here. The cars are starting to finalise coming to the grid now. We've got a couple more. And Ryan Palmer, very low down in qualifying. I can confirm that's because he was eating stir-fry, not qualifying the car. But this is our championship standing. So James Chastanel sits at the top of the leaderboard. Matt Bowler, less than 30 points behind. So James Chastanel needs to perform this evening to stay with Matt Bowler to hold on to that championship victory. Thomas Hinds not too far behind in third. Then Jamie Dyke and Will Buchanan only separated by 10 points.
We've got a very tight battle to keep an eye on there at the front of the field. And we will get on down to the start line as we get ready to go racing. It's going to be a very interesting one tonight, given the sheer number of points that can be collected here. We'll keep a very, very close eye on that top of the table battle as we line up. We've got the lights up and we are underway for race number 1 here on the streets of Long Beach, and away we go. And look, I think this one, Isaac, is going to be pretty decisive. I was doing the numbers earlier, and James Chastanov really needs to keep a very, very tight grip on this championship right throughout. He's going to need to finish somewhere up the top, or at least stay within a couple positions of Matt Bowler through every single race here tonight if he wants to hold on to this one. I don't think we're going to have a decision until the very, very end.
No, I do not at all. I think this is going to go on all evening, the battle between these two for the championship. Matt Bowler obviously gets to the front of the field, side by side in the background. That's Jamie Dyke, Will Buchanan, who's going to come out on top in this situation right now as they go through up the inside as Will Buchanan at this stage. I think he's actually going to have the position, but Matt Bowler is out in front, and he's got a rear gunner in James Scott now. So James Scott is going to do everything he can to hold James Chastanov at bay. Billy Mole in behind, Sam Cullen, Jamie Dyke as well. So this is a competitive little top 5. But yeah, I think this is going to be the goal here for James Scott. Usually he can run away with this, try and win this race, but we've seen him time and time again with pace. I think this evening his goal is to play rear gunner for his teammate, try and help him get that championship
Coleman
victory.
Gets caught up in the hairpin. Look, I'm actually surprised at how cleanly we've gotten through the hairpin for the first time here tonight. Ordinarily you'll see it back right up there through the start of any race. Tonight, though, we've gotten through with minimal casualties, although David Coleman unfortunately getting caught up and finds himself spat off to the side of the track. Out in front, Bowler, Scott, Chastanov and Mole all still relatively close together, although Bowler has opened up a good couple of seconds already. Chasty won't be too concerned about that at the moment. He just needs to stay within a few positions here tonight. What I'll come back to is that with just under 30 points the difference, Isaac, he basically needs to finish no more than about 3 or 4 spots back from Matt Bowler in every race tonight, and he should still get this one. It's going to be a very, very close call.
Yeah, this is going to be super close, and as you said, James Chestnut, he really has to have a shocker this evening to lose this championship. But that is possible. It's a street circuit. The walls are close. And look, these cars are absolutely built for street circuit racing. I love the opportunities we have on iRacing to take these cars to circuits and street circuits especially that you wouldn't normally get to see them at in real life. And Long Beach is definitely one of those. Multiple hairpins like this one just here, and multiple opportunities to overtake, to try and get past other cars. And look, I've driven a car here. It's not the most easiest thing to do. They're very difficult to tame around this very, very tight and twisty street circuit. So these guys this evening will be doing a stellar job. And James Chastanow, look at that gap already from James Scott to Matt Bowler. It is over 2 seconds. James Chastanow half a second behind as they run past the fountain. That's a very unique corner in World Motorsport, the fountain corner right here. You can pretty much you could drive through the fountain if you tried hard enough. There's no real barrier there, which is interesting. But this is Dane Snudden we're watching now. He's about half a second behind Thomas Hinds, who in turn is half a second behind his teammate Brett Loxton, who unfortunately at the conclusion of this evening will pass the number one on to either Matt Bowler or James Chastanow. So there will be a new champion this evening. Brett Loxton not able to defend his title, but I have no doubt he'll bounce back in next season and certainly be fighting for that championship once again.
Yeah, look, every chance, although the top end of this group has, I mean, look at the gap that's opened up here ahead of Loxton. I mean, there has been a few moments here and there that perhaps have contributed already in the early stages of this sprint race, but the speed of the front 3 or 4 drivers we've seen this season has just been absolutely next level, hasn't it? They've been so much faster time and time again, and some of the old hands that have been around for a while, they're starting to really feel the heat of some extra competition here.
Yeah, definitely the competition stepped up for sure. That is 10-second time penalty for car 281, so that's Will Buchanan for contact at turn 11 on lap 1. So that may be for the contact, I believe, with David Coleman. So that's a 10-second time penalty. He's already missing his front bar, so that time penalty is going to miss his David Coleman. So just spins him coming in towards the hairpin. So that's turn 11 there. Front bar still on the car at that stage. So not exactly sure what happened to cause him to further lose that front bar, but Ben Morris into the pits. So and he's at pit exit now. So that may be a drive-through for Ben Morris. Not entirely sure what caused him to come through the pit lane there, but we're on lap number 4 now already. 5-second time ready for car 281 for lap 2, turn 1. So that might explain where the front bar has gone for Will Buchanan. So now he carries, 15 seconds worth of time penalties, which would put him at this stage second last, so in 19th place behind David Coleman.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty significant impact on his points from this round. But of course, it's all post-race, so he'll just try and brush that off as best he can and focus on getting the best result that he can still salvage from this first race. As we take a look at Sam Cullen just staying ahead of Jamie Dyke as they come down the straight again. Already lap 5 of 19 here. 3 19-lap sprint races, and look, it's definitely a track that's built for sprints. Long Beach, it's good fun, but it's not something I'd want to do an endurance race around. It's a really challenging circuit. You've got to work really, really hard at it, and I don't think I'd particularly enjoy doing, well, I mean, if you combined all 3 of these, what's that, 60-odd laps back-to-back? I don't know if anyone's got the patience for that for Long Beach.
No, absolutely not. I think all these drivers would be absolutely wrecked at the end of that if that was the case. And, 19 laps, I'll be thankful that they do get a break, because even then, that's still a relatively long time. They're doing a minute 20 lap time, so it's about 25 minutes around here under complete green flag conditions. That's still a lot of laps at this circuit. Still a big ask, a tough ask in that. So, yeah, a long time for these drivers to do. 25 minutes around here is no small feat. This is Jamie Dyke putting the pressure on Sam Cullen, who finds himself inside the top 5. Only a relatively small grid tonight, 20 cars. Simon Capwood and Dean Powell obviously battling away for that the AM Cup class result, the championship there. So Simon Capwood is currently ahead of Dean Powell. We will want to get every single point he can tonight on the 93 car to try and set himself up to hopefully get a championship victory. But at the moment, Jamie Dyke, I should say, wants to get himself into the top 5. Ryan Palmer holds that 10th spot, coveted pole position for race number 2. and he's actually jumped up. If I look at my numbers, 8 spots. As we said, he didn't. I don't know whether he set a proper lap in qualifying. He was a second and a half off in quali. Definitely seems to have more pace here, but I can confirm he was more interested in eating his stir fry in qualifying than he was actually setting a qualifying lap. So maybe he wanted a bit of a challenge to start from the back.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, anything's possible, isn't it, when it comes to Mr. Palmer? As we take a look at this group, still caught up behind Brett Loxton. Ryan Palmer at the back of it in 10th. And look, you know, pretty well placed for the reverse top 10 grid for race number 2, but I doubt he'll be wanting to hang around too much. What's really surprising to me at this point is just the sheer gaps that we're seeing here. Right, Brett Loxton is just shy of 4 seconds off the back of Cullen and Dyke, who further up here as they come through the hairpin. Once again, they're still 4 seconds back from Mole and Chastano, who in turn are 3 seconds back from your leaders Bowler and Scott, who are just absolutely blitzing it out in front here tonight. And whether that's just, I don't know, more seat time here than other places, or just a better setup for this circuit, who knows? But at the moment, the Eclipse Sim Sports guys out in front absolutely blitzing it at this point. James Chastanoff, though, he'll be feeling reasonably comfortable. He's not too far off the back. You can see him here just following on through. Billy Moll's with him. So these guys will continue to battle it out as we approach the halfway point of this first race in just a couple of laps' time. But Chasty at the moment is, look, he's within reach. He's within reach at the moment. He's only going to be dropping at this stage about 6 points. If Mole does get through, then he's going to be looking at dropping 9 points, and that's kind of about the limit that he'd want to drop to Matt Bowler here per race tonight.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to drop any more points than he necessarily needs to. He will try and do what he can to hold on from Billy Mole, because obviously James Scott has disappeared in the distance now. Realised that there's a bit of a gap between himself and Matt Bowler. Matt Bowler clearly got quite a lot of pace in that car, and just looking, fast lap of the race actually does belong to James Scott at the moment, a 1 minute 20.8, and Matt Bowler's on a 1 minute 20.9, so pretty close between the two of them. But James Scott definitely has the pace in that car, but I don't think he's going to go for the overtake and take any points off of his teammate. Hopefully, we haven't seen them, as you said, play the team game too much this season. I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks in a row now, that they don't really seem to be in the same voice chats during the race, so the communication's not there. But maybe for this week, they've just communicated a little bit with each other and said, you know, if I'm in the position to hand you some championship points to help you in the campaign, then I'll absolutely do that. And it's probably what you'd expect out of teammates in this situation. So James Scott being a real team player at the moment. Jamie Dykes just found his way past Sam Cullen. Will Buchanan's trying to get his way past Ryan Nielsen as well. This is Brett Loxton, who's under pressure from Thomas Hinz and Dane Snadden. So these guys at the back end of the top 10. Ryan Palmer also lurking in the background of this group. So, a little bit of a touch of the wall there for Thomas Hinz on the exit. So they're getting close to the concrete barriers here. There's not a lot of room for error at a street circuit like Long Beach, and the advantage of being in a tin top, as that's what they call it in this part of the world, a tin top, not a saloon or a sports sedan, but perks of being in a supercar as opposed to an open wheeler is you have fenders and the wheels are a little bit more sturdy. If you were in an IndyCar there, you probably very well could have plucked the rear left corner out of it. So Thomas Hinz will be very, very glad that he's in a supercar with a little bit more sturdy suspension, take a bit more of a heavy hit, but he's trying to keep up with Brett Loxton. I feel like he's dropping off a little bit here at the moment. Will Buchanan, as we touched on earlier, still trying to find a way past Ryan Nielsen, even without a front bar.
Well, when you're tucked in behind like that, the aero impact doesn't really matter quite so much, does it? They ride in behind Nielsen and wait for your opportunity to get through. The thing with Long Beach is, despite the relatively long front straight, it's not a super high-speed track through most of it. So the impact here for Buchanan should be fairly minimal. And he's showing off that he's absolutely staying in touch here with Nielsen. The one to watch behind is James Doyle and also Liam Jensen, the two Koala Cartel cars. Are circulating, not quite there yet, but they're certainly keeping an eye on this battle just up ahead of them. Ryan Palmer has fallen right off the back of the group that he was attached to. He's a second and a half behind Dane Snadden now. So yeah, long way back as Dean Power gives up a spot to David Coleman, and that is music to Simon Caplet's ears as he tries to regather what he can here and hope to take out that AM Cup at the death of this season. It's going to be a tough one for him. Oh, Ben Morris. Ben Morris is in the wall hard at the fountain. Now, will that bring on a safety car here?
I think it might. I think we're potentially going to see a safety car in this situation, just looking to see if any one of those race control team look like they're going to jump out into any of the Mercedes safety cars that they've queued up this evening. Maybe there's a few close walls, so we might not let... well, actually, there's no Ian Ward this evening. I think they've fired him from safety car duties after Adelaide and the repairs they had to conduct on that car. So they've replaced him this week with Mitch Curry, actually. I've just noticed is in race control this evening. So Ian Ward's been given the boot. They've said, nope, we're not going to let you try the safety car anymore. We'll let Mitch Curry do it. But there's no safety car yet, and it doesn't look like anyone in race control is super keen on trying to get into the car and get control of this field. So we might actually get to continue racing.
It does look like Ben Morris has managed to get rolling, so he's going to make it back around somehow. Look at the front right on that thing, though. It is barely hanging on, and making his way around the corner is a challenge, to say the least. So he's saved us from a safety car, but I'd say his race is pretty well done here. It'll just be for bragging rights and the few extra points that he can pick up by seeing the checkered flag. He'll come around, he'll get it fast repair, but he's going to end up so far behind that you can't see it. Can't see him catching up really from there.
No, absolutely not. I think, unfortunately, it's all be a reset. Go again in race number 2 and race number 3 for Ben Morris. But again, this circuit is so tricky. I'm surprised we haven't seen more drivers make some mistakes this evening. So Ben Morris, unfortunately, the unlucky one. This battle still continues on, though. Billy Moll is putting some real pressure on James Chassis at the moment and trying to get himself into that podium spot. James Chastinov not keen on losing any more points than he already is in this situation. James Scott sort of still maintaining that gap to Matt Bowler, so I think he's just trying to stick him behind for now. But yeah, I think Billy Moll is desperate to get on the podium, and James Chastinov is desperate to hold on to these points. Looking at the other battles up and down the field, everyone started to spread out a little bit now. This is sort of the closest two on track. This is Josh Harris and David Coleman, though. These are the closest two on track, and David Coleman in the second phase of that corner tried to make something happen, was not able to on exit. Will lose a little bit of time here to Josh Harris, but he's putting him under some pressure in the background, as well as Dean Powell putting Simon Caplet under pressure.
Yeah, these battles continue on. This is one of those tracks where it's just so hard to find a passing opportunity absent a mistake from the driver in front. There's plenty of spots as David Coleman gets it spun around that corner very quickly. You can see him lining up the rear as he tries to find traction. Simon Caplet struggling with the same in the background. So this guy's pushing very, very hard, but it's costing them time, it's costing them pace, and Josh Harris just starts to walk away down the front straight. It's so important to get that exit right if you do want to hold on to your pace at the other end of this front straight. It just costs you so much if you do mess up that exit.
Yeah, absolutely, it can cost you. And that's the I think the theme with most of the corners around here. There is so much potential to lose time. You can see this is James Scott all over the back of Matt Bowler. Is he going to go for the move here? That will be the question. Is he going to continue to play the team game, or is he just maybe trying to give his teammate a little bit of the hurry up? They are 6.5 seconds up the road from James Chastinov, so not really too much to worry about here in terms of losing more positions. But what do they do with this battle? I've gone back. Jared Cole had a look at the points between Dean Powell and Simon Caplet. It is a 70-point advantage in favour of Dean Powell. So Simon Caplet, one spot ahead of Dean Powell, is not going to be enough to take this championship back from Dean. So he has a little bit of work to do, Simon Caplet, if he wants to capitalise on the points this evening and try and get that championship point or that championship lead back. So 70 points, it's doable, but it is a big gap.
I don't know if I'd even call it doable at this point. It's such a big ask, and to be fair, there's just not enough drivers in the field to really help these guys find much in the way of of an opportunity to get themselves spread out that far. It's going to be really, really tough for Caplet to find himself that far ahead of Power. They're battling it out. They're side by side at the moment, which is great to see. But this isn't going to be helping Caplet at all. And I think Dean Power should be feeling relatively comfortable with his finish at the top of the M Cup contest tonight if this continues.
Yeah, well, here he goes. He's gonna get past Simon Capel now, so he definitely will feel a little bit more comfortable with that change of position. This is Brett Loxton still trying to find a way back past Sam Cullen. Let him go for a little bit, but he's closed right back in now. We are running out of time in this first race to make something happen, and as a result, you can see we've got Sam Cullen, Brett Loxton, Thomas Hinds, Dane Snadden, and Ryan Palmer all riding on top of each other. Will Buchanan some 4 seconds back on this battle, but Sam Cullen starting to feel the pressure once again. Maybe Brett Loxton just trying to manage those tyres at the back end of this race, but he is keen to try and get a spot. So Sam Cullen was battling with Jamie Dyke earlier and then lost all his time, fell back into the clutches of Brett Loxton, then opened it up a little bit. It's closed back in once again, and Jamie Dyke has just, as a result, disappeared into the distance 4 seconds up the road, albeit 5 seconds back from Billy Mole, who's still trying to find a way past James Chastanoff. James Scott has also let Matt Bowler go and given him a little bit of breathing room there. So interesting to keep an eye on some of these gaps. But look at this group. We got from 6th place all the way down to 10th. It is all over the place. Looks up the inside now, under brakes. Brett Loxton, oh, heavy into the wall for Sam Cullen. He stayed wide to allow Brett Loxton through to give him room, and as a result, there's understeer wide into the wall. Brett Loxton will be up into 6th place, and I think that's sort of, unfortunately, a driver error from Sam Cullen. As much as I hate to say it, I don't know if Brett Loxton really played too much of a factor in that incident.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. We'll go back and we'll take another look. Keep a close eye on Brett Loxton on the way through here. Cullen out very, very wide. Is there contact here? No, I think just ran out of room in the end. Look, whether or not Loxton had left enough room there is anyone's guess, but I think just maybe a little bit of misjudgment on both drivers' parts there as to just how close they actually were to those tyres and whether or not they were going to clear the far end of them, because it does come around pretty quickly as you come through that corner. You can, if you've got line right, actually run all the way out to the concrete wall, but you have to miss those tyres first.
Yes, yeah, you do not want to hit those tyres at all, and I think that's probably what caught Sam Cullen out a little bit, was the fact that those tyres stick out and they go longer than what you think they do. Have a look here as we run through this corner once again. You think probably they don't stick out as far, but when you get wide and you're on the marbles, they stick out a lot further than what you would expect they would. That front bar is also missing off Sam Cullen's car, so that's 2 AITX cars. Sorry, did I get that right? No, AITX, I did get that right. I don't know why I second guessed myself. But there's 2 AITX cars without a front bar on them now. So they're going for symmetry in their liveries, I think.
Yeah, is it livery symmetry, or is it a team orders to, I don't know, try and go for a bit of weight reduction here and pick up an extra top speed? Either way, I don't think it's the way to go somehow. And it is unfortunate to see both of them suffering. Both Cullen and Buchanan now falling well off the back as this group continues on. Further up through the field, Chasty is still doing everything he can to hold off Billy Mole here and managing it so far, but it's just costing more and more time. Look at this, 9 seconds, the difference between Chastanoff and Mole forward to Bowler and Scott. Huge gap as Sam Cullen moves over and gets out of the way of his teammate coming through there as well. Billy Mole is putting all sorts of pressure onto James Chastanoff here, but Chastanoff knows what he has to get done tonight. He just needs to hang in there, hold on to third, and keep himself in touch with Matt Bowler through to the end tonight.
Yeah, he knows the expectations. He knows he doesn't have to do anything silly, and this championship is absolutely his. So he's performing well at this stage. He's responding well to the pressure that Billy Mole was applying. We've only got 2 laps in. Billy Mole trying to drive underneath him in the hairpin, but James Chastanoff just was wider and therefore could get the better run off the corner to hold on the position. So Mole's throwing everything at him, but Chasty is driving quite well, quite a mature head on him this evening with his performance he's putting on.
Yeah, look, not surprised at all. It's the way he's conducted himself right throughout this season. And it's really why he's sitting out in front, although there's not a lot in it. And doing the quick numbers, I mean, what was it, 28 points before the start of this race? If we finish as we are now, which looks increasingly likely, then that gap will reduce to 22 points coming into race number 2. So still a fair bit of headroom for Chastity, but it's probably not as much as he'd like to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not the probably not the ideal situation for him, that's for sure. So James Scott's putting pressure once again on Matt Bowler, so this is getting interesting at the front of this field. And Sam Cullen's now lost a spot to his teammate. Ben Morris, it says he's at pit exit, so we could see him coming back on the circuit very, very shortly after a repair on that car, or maybe it's just a glitch that says he's at pit exit. Not entirely sure. Maybe he's been there for a little while. But yeah, here we go. Once again, I had to think about it. I tried to do the same thing, but James Chastity just had a little bit more room ahead that time, just a little more breathing room that time, and was able to turn back as per normal without Billy Mull trying to come underneath him. So look, this is a really nice battle between these two. Very, very close indeed. I think what James Chastity will be excited by is that the fact that no matter where he finishes in this race, whether it's third or fourth, he is a whole row ahead of Matt Bowler in the next race. And you can make this circuit is as easy to overtake as you make it. If you try and make that car as wide as possible as James Chastity has here in this situation, it's very difficult to try and overtake. Whereas if you just sort of leave the door open, you're not really aware of what's happening behind you. It's quite easy for cars to get past. You can see here James Chastity driving very, very well and defending beautifully from Billy Mull. Billy Mull throwing everything at him in the late stage of this first race. So James Chastity, he could be excited by the fact he'll have track position over Matt Bowler in race 2.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what he can make of it, though. Of course, race 2 will be the next sort as we go. Big dive there from Billy Mull and just gets a nudge. He'll be down into the escape route, and that will mean that Chastity's got all the time in the world. Jamie Dyke second and a bit behind, but I don't think he'll be close enough to have too much of an impact here. Billy Mull's going to fall back through the pack. He's down into 7th now as he gets going again. A blessing for Jamie Dyke and for Chastity, but out in front, it's the Eclipse Imports duo of Bowler and Scott who continue on. They've seen the white flag. This is the final lap, and I don't know whether we're going to see these two battle it out at all, or if it's going to be a fairly calm and controlled finish. I suspect, given how well these guys run so far, I wouldn't be thinking there's too much likely to come of this.
Calm, controlled. I don't know what you think this is, Jared Cole, but calm and controlled never usually goes into a sentence with supercars. But look, it has been a fairly collected drive from these two. I would say James Scott has sort of, I don't know if he's tried to throw anything at Matt Bowler here. I think he's just letting him know that he's there, and he's just sitting right in behind him, just to make him feel a little bit of pressure. He doesn't want to make him feel like he's just walking away with this at all. So James Scott really just saying, hey, I'm still here. I've not gone anywhere yet.
Well, it's all come to this, and Matt Bowler will take the win here in race number 1 very comfortably, and followed through by his teammate James Scott. James Chastity comes to the hairpin for the final time. He just needs to complete this one more time. Jamie Dyke's done an awesome job of closing the gap, but 15.5 seconds down the road, Chastity will complete the podium for race 2 as Jamie Dyke comes across in 4th place. Brett Loxton will come home in 5th ahead of Thomas Hinds, and then a bit of a run here really of drivers in behind as Dan Staden comes through, as does Billy Mull just ahead of Ryan Palmer. And then the group looking a little sad and sorry will be counted. Sam Cullen comes across the line ahead of Ryan Nielsen and James Doyle, with David Coleman and Josh Harris just behind them at the moment. And then Dean Power and Simon Capel finishing that order. So you'd have to think at this point that Caplet's effort at regaining the lead of that AM Cup is pretty much out of reach at this point. Liam Jensen comes across the line. Scott Watts, the last driver on track, as he comes down towards the final few turns, and he will look to complete race number 1 and pick up some last minute points, but the night absolutely belonging to Matt Bowler in race 1 at least. Race 2, though, will it be a different story? We'll find out shortly.
Yeah, what's going to take place in race 2? Obviously, we're going to reverse the grid and reverse the top 10, I should say, and have another go at this. What can Ryan Palmer do from the front row of the grid? We know he likes to start these cars. He's pretty good off the line. As I've said that, I've probably now jinxed him, but we'll have a look at what this grid looks like.
So with reverse top 10, this is how they'll line up for race number 2. Buchanan and Palmer on the front row with Mole and Snadden behind them. Then Hinds and Loxton ahead of Dyke and Chastanov, with James Scott and Matt Bowler rounding out your top 10. As we go back through the rest of the field, they will be, as they finish, so Sam Cullen and Ryan Nielsen alongside each other in row 6. Then Doyle and Coleman ahead of Harris and Power, with Caplet and Jensen behind them. Scott Watts and Ben Morris set to take the final 10th row here on the grid at Long Beach for our second sprint race. 19 more laps lie ahead, and they look, whether we see the same again here is always going to be the question. I don't really know if that's what we can expect or not.
Yeah, look, well, I don't know. It's street circuits, Long Beach. Anything holds in this second race this evening remains to be seen, but this top 10, it is pretty interesting. Ryan Palmer is quite fast. Billy Mole, we've seen as well, is quite fast, and on that second row of the grid, there is a lot he could do from third, potentially pick up a win in this race if he can play his cards right. But I think we're going to see a pretty lively battle at the front of this grid. We're going to see a pretty lively battle all the way down, because James Chastanov, James Scott and Matt Bowler all have work to do trying to come through this field. Ben Morris, what can he do from the back of the field as well? He gets another chance to reset and go again. David Coleman as well, starting 14th, gets another chance after being spun early in race 1. And yeah, Sam Cullen, Ryan Nielsen, a few names in there that probably felt a little bit hard done by in race 1 with the way incidents went and the way things happened. So they'll be looking to fight back as well.
Now the question will be, what sort of a start does Ryan Palmer get off the front row? We know he's pretty reasonable when it comes to launching these things. So we'll see if we get a little bit of Ryan Palmer magic here down towards turn 1 for the first time. I'm not holding my breath. It's going to be a very, very interesting second race. Of course, keep your eye on Chastanov and Bowler for this one. As the lights come up, we get ready to go racing again. Race 2 out of 3, 19 laps ahead, and away we go. A good start for both Buchanan and Palmer. A few little moves further back as well, and Buchanan and Palmer are going to be side by side all the way down. Palmer's got the inside run, so he's going to get just ahead. Squeezes Buchanan as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. Have a look at Chastanov. He's wiggling around all over the place back here. Manages to keep it straight as they get on down to the fountain. They're going to need to get this sorted out pretty quickly. I think we're keeping it more or less in line at the moment. And I think James Chastanov, he's up 2 spots already. Matt Bowler's going with him as well, though. The biggest losers off the start there, Thomas Hinds and Jamie Dyke, both dropping 4 and 3 respectively. So not getting the start they would have wanted. Sam Cullen's gone around. He's gone around coming out of the turn, just too much power through the cold tyres, and that puts him right to the back of the field. The AITX woes continue for Sam Cullen. Will Buchanan out in front is hanging in there, though. Ryan Palmer just trying his best to hold on as these tyres come up to temp. And down the back straight we go. Palmer goes defensive. Buchanan goes back to the outside. And they're coming down to this very, very hard right-hander. Heavy on the brakes, cold tyres, pushing everything they can through it at the moment. Billy Mole right there behind them. Dane Snadden not too much further back either.
Yeah, it's been a pretty competitive start, unfortunately for Sam Cullen. Not going the way he would have wanted. And he finds himself at the back of the field, but still only 2 seconds behind, so he's got to slow down now. I don't know where he's got that slowdown from, but he has found himself with a slowdown. Ryan Palmer has nailed the race start. As we said, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at these things. Gets him off the line pretty well. And that he certainly has done. Leads this race. And as you mentioned as well, James Chastanov up 2 spots. James Scott and Matt Bowler both going with him. Will there be a positional change with James Scott and Matt Bowler at some point in terms of trying to maximise the points game? But we'll keep an eye on that. This is Will Buchanan putting all the pressure. Look how sideways they are out of that corner. running down the back straight now, trying to find a way past is Will Buchanan. Billy Mole also staying with them, already 2 seconds back to Brett Loxton. So these three at the front have quite a lot of pace. Brett Loxton not able to keep up with them. Dane Snadden also struggling to keep up with Brett Loxton. This is up the inside now from, that is James Scott on James Chastanoff. So Chastanoff's going to come back at him here. This is going to go side by side all
this
the
is
way
dangerous.
down. There's a little bit of contact. Someone's lost a bumper there. That is the car in front. That's Snadden.
I think that's Snadden's. Oh,
So-
big touch for Scott as
further
well.
Contact.
These guys have got to get this sorted out. Chastanoff cannot afford to pick up a penalty here or to give away spots, but that's exactly what's happened. Matt Bowler's gone around the outside and gotten ahead. This is danger territory for James Chastanoff.
This is absolutely danger territory. This is the last thing you want. Matt Bowler as a result of the battle with James Scott, and that's what James Scott probably would have been hoping for. This is Ryan Nielsen and Jamie Dyke. Ryan Nielsen almost got into the back of Dyke there, down the front straight into the first corner, and has managed to pull that car up, get it stopped without any further contact. But David Coleman, who's also up 2 spots off the start of this one, is right in with this group. So there's a few battles happening up and down the field as we predicted, Jared Cole. We knew this was going to be an electric race too.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't quite predicting this, but it's what we've got so far. We've got a nice little battle out in front. We've got a long line of cars here. This is the one to watch. So Matt Bowler, he needs to open up some more positions between himself and Chastanoff. It's only 2 spots at the moment. He needs it to be more like 5 or 6 by the end of this race. 15, 16 laps to go. He's got plenty of time to make it happen, but whether or not he's got enough pace to put that gap in place is another question altogether. He gets ahead of Dane Snadden. That's going to help a fair bit, particularly as they come around to the main straight here. Snadden without the front bar on there, likely to lose a little bit of speed, but whether he'll be able to carry enough to stay ahead of Scott and Chastanoff is the question. I do wonder, are we going to see a little bit of team effort come in here from James Scott? Is he going to be starting to hold Chastanoff up, or are they going to continue what we've seen all season and not actually communicate and fight this as a team?
What is going to happen here in this situation with Matt Bowler, James Chastanoff as well, trying to stay with James Scott. He'll want to get past. He wants to minimise the gap between the cars, as you said. So this is a bit of work to do. Dane Snadden's obviously struggling without that front bar, so he's going to be hampered. And I think if James Scott does go through on Dane Snadden, it will become a case of James Chastanoff wanting to follow through as quickly as possible. The last thing he wants is to have more of the cars than necessary between himself and his main championship rival. Down the inside, here we go, James Scott under brakes. He'll get that done quite nicely, actually. He's actually going to, the fact that Dane Snadden had to go so wide there and scrub off enough speeds actually sort of opened the door here for Chasty to come through. So he's going to go to the inside, heavy under brakes, and he should get that one done as well, and he does. So that's another spot gain as well, and that's key for James Chastanoff. He did not want to spend too long behind Dane Snadden trying to find his way past.
No, not at all. He didn't want to get held up there for even a second longer than was necessary, and he's done a great job of actually getting through very, very quickly afterwards. Leads now this long group. It goes all the way back as to pretty much David Coleman here in 12th before a couple seconds back to Josh Harris and the second chasing group. But out in front, these three have just continued to expand that gap back to Brett Loxton. Now it's 2.5 seconds. And I imagine that's probably about where it'll stay as they start to really battle in earnest. Ryan Palmer trying desperately to hold off Will Buchanan. Billy Mole, at the moment, just content to sit in behind and watch and wait. And that's probably not a bad way to approach it. This is Long Beach, and as with any street circuit, you don't want to get caught up in an incident. If you can avoid it, you want to take full advantage if it happens. So what he's going to be looking for right now is any sign that Buchanan's going to try and move on, and he'll either follow through or just sit back and wait for it to all come undone.
Yeah, this is going to be, look, Ryan Palmer was no stranger to getting his elbows out. He is not going to let Buchanan pass without a fight. And if I'm Billy Mole, as he said, I'm just going to let this happen. I'm going to spectate a little bit, see what goes on, not get too involved, because if it ends in tears, you are there to capitalise. But if you're trying to join in, then you could find yourself caught up in it, and all of a sudden Brett Loxton or Matt Bowler, who's actually putting Loxton under an immense amount of pressure at the moment, will be there to capitalise.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in for sure. I don't know. What do you do if you're Billy Mole? Like, you don't want to sit in behind for too long. You're just using tyres up to stay with these guys for no real reason. But we haven't really seen any sign of even a crack in Palmer or Buchanan's driving so far. It's been really, really composed. As I say that, of course, it's probably going to bring something on, and that is the way that we commentators work. But taking the background, here comes Matt Bowler. So he's just moved through on Brett Loxton, and he is continuing to try and open up these spots. Chastity is still back there in 7th. You just see him off the bottom of the screen there now, as Loxton goes back up the inside and completes that, Bowler completes that move on Loxton, back up the inside. James Scott's coming as well. This is great news for Matt Bowler. This is going to make things very, very interesting for race 3 if we maintain this kind of a gap between the two of them.
Yeah, look, we'll have to maybe do some preliminary maths on what the points could look like after this, because I don't believe that it matters now in terms of drop rounds. So whatever they've got as their drop round, if they have a poor performance this evening, it doesn't matter. It still counts towards the points. So it'd be interesting to see coming into this final race what the point swing has been in favour of Matt Bowler, how the championship stacks up, and what Matt Bowler has to do to win the championship in the final race if things stay as they are, or Matt Bowler and James Chastity continue to move forward in this field. At the moment, Billy Mole has actually dropped off a little bit from this lead group, who continues to battle away, and Will Buchanan trying to essentially push Ryan Palmer around this circuit. He's got a lot of pace, but he just cannot find a way past the ADHD car.
And Palmer not really having to defend particularly hard at the moment either. He's definitely holding Buchanan behind him, but he's not having to go super defensive, as you can see him get just a little loose over the crest there before they get on the brakes again and get onto the back straight. Buchanan's had a great run there. He's right in behind Palmer. Surely this is where we see him try to make a move. He's locked in. There it is. Goes to the inside. Has a big think about it. He's not quite going to be there in time to actually try it on this time. So again, Palmer just judging the pace that he's got immaculately at the moment, and knowing exactly when to move himself across and block it up, and when to just let it happen. But in the background, look at this gap closing. It's definitely costing them time. The gap to Bowler now under 2 seconds.
Yeah, it is close between this group, and he's going to put the foot down in this. So we're not even halfway through this race yet, and Matt Bowler is already pretty much cleared to start heading towards this front group. James Chastity still trying to find a way past James Scott, who in turn is trying to find a way past Brett Loxton. This is Jamie Dyke putting a little bit of pressure on Thomas Hinds, but even more so feeling the pressure from Ryan Nielsen and David Coleman. So this is the back end of the top 10 cars that could potentially be on pole or on the front row of the grid for race 3 coming up, find themselves in a position to take a race win this evening. And that is absolutely key for Jamie Dyke and Ryan Nielsen. If David Coleman
of this season, given it's the last race and all, but a lot of them are actually very, very close on points, and it might even come down to just the last couple of points that they do get here tonight. We keep an eye on the front end though. Ryan Palmer, Billy Mole, Will Buchanan, all still right in there, but Palmer started to open up just a little bit of a gap. He's managed to pull away from that, and I wonder if perhaps there's been a move from Billy Mole or Buchanan that's cost them both a bit of time. We'll go back and we'll take another look on the iRacing Designs replay. This was the pass, and there it is, Buchanan into the wall. That cost him a lot of speed, and Billy Mole says, "Thank you very much, I will waltz on through." Yep,
he certainly does, and that is a change of position. Here we go, we'll have it's look, it was only a matter of time. These guys are pushing so hard, and I'm surprised that there wasn't this stage for the breathing room.
Yeah, and look, 10 laps to go. We're basically halfway through here. That breathing room's not going to stay for long, I can't imagine, but it does give him an opportunity to just settle in and keep his eye on the race still to come. I mean, right now he's out in front and he's got an almost second lead. It's his to lose at this stage, but he's got some very, very quick drivers on their way. Matt Bowler continues to close in the gap, and he's almost caught up to Buchanan. In fact, he's going to go around the outside. Buchanan almost just gives him that one. I don't know if he had the exit cost him a bit of pace there and had to get on the brakes to avoid the wall, but Matthew Bowler just waltzing on through. This is really, really bad news for James Chastain, who's still behind Brett Loxton back in 7th. The gap now, look, by my count, should be about 12 points that Chastain stands to give away here, which means that gap in the final race could be as little as 2 or 4 points, if my maths is any good. But we'll take a look at the points in between races with an updated standing. Or at least a provisional updated standing that should give us a pretty good idea of just how close the final race is going to be.
Yeah, well, I'm very interested to see what those points are going to be. How close will it be? Because here is, this is Ryan Nielsen, actually. This is James Chastain's teammate. He's sitting in behind Jamie Dyke, holding on at the moment to pole position for the final race this evening. And this could be key. We talk about the team game, and James Scott playing the team game a little bit at the moment for Matt Bowler. Could we see Ryan Nielsen in a position to be able to play the team game later this evening for James Chastain when it counts? Because that is, look, he hasn't been up the top end of the field by not necessarily any fault of his own so far this evening, but starting on pole for this final race, you know how quick Matt Bowler has been working his way through this field, so that could be a key spot to be in if you're trying to help your teammate win a championship. So what happens then? We'll have to wait and find out, I guess. But watch this space. This is Billy Mole all over the back of Ryan Palmer. Very aggressive under brakes there. Thought he was going to hit the back of him, but he is pushing hard to try and get past. He knows Matt Bowler is coming as well. He wants to get in front of Ryan Palmer before Matt Bowler arrives. Thinks about to look up the inside, but Ryan Palmer very decisive. Ducks across in front of the front bar of Billy Mole. This is a very intense battle for position. Who's going to come out on top here? Matt Bowler will get himself up into a position to fight with this group as well, and no doubt he will be in the equation for the lead of this race.
Look at how defensive Palmer was on the run down there. He's managed to move across and open the corner up a little, but hugging that inside wall, making it very, very clear his intentions to defend this so hard all the way to the end. You almost fear though when it starts to look like that, has he actually lost the pace in the tyres, and does he actually have anything left to give?
But yeah, that is what we have to think about as well. The tyres around here. What's the tyre life like? What is the car behaviour like for these guys at the back end of these races? We're on lap 12. How difficult can Ryan Palmer make it for both of these drivers to get past? You can see he's probably struggling a little bit, especially with the rears, it seems, on corner exit. He's very loose, very squirrely on the drive, getting the power down, whereas Billy Mole looks very, very planted. So it's challenging at this stage for Ryan Palmer. He is doing everything he can. Look how sideways he is there on the wall cam. And here goes Billy Mole, dives to the outside. Ryan Palmer is defensive, slides the car in. He is pushing that car, that ADHD Chevy, as much as he can, but the tyres are not cooperating with him at the moment. He is skating this car around this track.
Yeah, absolutely is. Look again, goes very defensive. I mean, Mole needs to see that coming and be ready to change his approach. But, here comes Bowler. Bowler's going to try and look up the inside here and try and get past Billy Mole. That's a little unexpected. Hasn't quite pulled it off that time around, but Mole needs to be on high alert for that. He just messes up that corner entry, just clips the curbs a little, and that's cost him a lot of traction on the way out. And all he's done, he's given the space back to Ryan Palmer. Now he's going to be side by side with Bowler down the straight.
Yeah, here we go. This is a free kick once again for Palmer. So this battle with Bowler is Bowler's going to get another spot from Mole. So this puts another car between the championship combatant, man that's chasing down our championship leader, and our championship leader in James Chastain, who's still in 7th, albeit behind Brett Loxton, not able to close in on the reigning champion. And Matt Bowler now moves up into 2nd place with the opportunity to set after Ryan Palmer. He's got plenty of time left to try and get past him.
Yeah, he does, and that's the biggest problem for Palmer at the moment, is just how long is still left in this race. It's a long way left to go, and he's got himself a nice little gap now. But with Matt Bowler out into a little bit of clean air, I mean, at best, he's only going to have Bowler to contend with. At worst, Bowler's going to bring Mole, Buchanan, and Scott along for the ride.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this could be from a great situation to a terrible situation for Ryan Palmer if he gets caught up in these battles a little bit too much. This is
Oh,
Hins
big
and
moment.
Dyke.
Jamie Dyke into the
Contact.
wall.
That's a heavy hit.
Thomas
for Jamie
Hins
Dyke.
gets sideways, and unfortunately, Jamie Dyke in the wrong place at the wrong time with nowhere to go. Huge contact, and hopefully he's going to be able to get that around, but I think we're probably about to see him come in and get repairs done. No, he's going to push on. So obviously the wheels feel straight enough to him, and he's going to continue to push on there. A massive, massive moment there for Thomas Hins, and really unfortunate for Jamie Dyke to just get caught in it. Here comes Matt Bowler though, right in behind Palmer. It's only 7/10, and that's going to continue to drop. 5 laps to go after this one. Geez, Palmer's got to be sweating at this point.
Yeah, Palmer will be feeling the pressure, absolutely. And what can Matt Bowler do? He's going to throw everything at him to try and get the lead of this race. He would love nothing more than to be in the box seat for this championship starting later this evening. The only consolation for James Chastanoff is that he will be a considerable way ahead of Matt Bowler in the third race this evening. That's the only consolation I think he can take from this situation as it stands at the moment, because Matt Bowler is going to be all the way back in 10th, and James Chastanoff looks like he's going to be on the second row of the grid for the final race this evening. So the question will be, again, what does the championship look like coming into the final race? Does Matt Bowler, has he done enough to take the championship lead? How close is it between these guys at the top end? And is it a case of whoever finishes ahead takes the championship? Because I'm very, very excited at the prospect of whoever finishes ahead in this final race will be our champion.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be pretty close to that, honestly. It might not quite be that clear cut, but it's going to be. Look, I think Chassey's going to have his work cut out from here. Long Beach just not favouring him as we've seen in a number of other races where he's been much quicker, and yeah, it's not coming together for him tonight, is it? It's going to make it for a very, very interesting final race. The Bowler looks to go around the outside now. Palmer's going to struggle here. He needs to get back across in front to defend the inside of this turn. He does so, just barely holding on there. There's, geez, I don't know how much longer he can keep this up.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can. He's brilliant defensive driving from Ryan Palmer, which, look, we'd expect nothing less. But up the inside, here we go. Under brakes for Matt Bowler. Ryan Palmer tries to just be a little bit authoritative with his driving here, defensive. And again, you can see everyone's coming with him now. So this all goes all the way back to Brett Loxton. This could open the door for James Chastanoff to close in even more, because this battle is starting at Ryan Palmer and the train is running. You can see that line of cars, ladies and gents, all the way back to James Chastanoff in 7th position.
Yeah, and look, you know, it's not measured on time though. That's Chassey's problem right here. He needs the positions. He needs to close in a couple more spots on Matt Bowler. And while great that Palmer's, you know, effectively holding him up at the moment, Chassey's not managing to get through the field at this point. He's got a few very, very quick drivers still ahead to negotiate. The biggest problem right now would be if Bowler gets out in front and takes off. It's only one more position that he can pick up here, right? So the damage is limited somewhat, but geez, this is the last gasp for Chassey, I think. We'll see what the points look like after this race with just a few laps to go, but I think it's going to be a very, very difficult one for Chassey to actually hold on to this championship tonight.
Yeah, well, I came into this. Oh, here goes Bowler up the inside. Again, that's a carbon copy of the previous lap, isn't it? I think I've just got deja vu, but I came into tonight thinking that James Chastanoff, he was in a very strong position, 28 points. Doesn't feel like a lot, but it is a pretty large amount. And unfortunately, it has just been a very difficult evening. Everyone in this field is so competitive. The field is so tight in terms of times that there's a couple of tenths is the difference between being first and being 7th at the moment, and that's the unfortunate thing for James Chastanoff. Is he is quick, but he's just not quick enough this evening for it to count. That's a 5-second time penalty for car 78. That's Thomas Hins for contact with Jamie Dyke. So at the moment, that's going to drop him back into 10th place. Josh Harris is some 10 seconds away, so we'll drop him back to provisional pole, which actually could be an advantage for him.
It could be, and Jamie Dyke, I just noticed earlier, picked up a meatball flag. Now, whether it was from that original contact or if there was something else beyond that as well is a little hard to say. It looks like he might have had a further incident. So we'll keep with this though, because Palmer is so heavily invested in defending this right now. And he's going to struggle. Oh, there's contact there as Palmer tries to get across. Bowler's going to go side by side now. Look for Billy Mole on the outside. We're 3 wide into a braking zone that really only fits 1. And there's going to be trouble here. It's Mole into the wall. Oh. Palmer drops positions. Bowler goes through, as does Buchanan and Scott. Billy Mole comes off, worst of all out of that. And I don't know if it could have been avoided.
Look, it was always going to end in tears for somebody, and unfortunately it's ended in tears for Billy Mole, and it sort of ended in tears as well for Ryan Palmer. Billy Mole will push on. He's in 10th place now, so we actually get provisional pole. Here we go. The iRacing Designs replay, 3 wide. 3 does not go into 1, and it was always going to end in tears. And unfortunately for Billy Mole, he was the car on the outside, and it was Matt Bowler into Ryan Palmer into Billy Mole. And that was very, very disappointing. Ryan Palmer now sits 4th and has a little bit of work to do to maybe get back past James Scott. James Chatsnell has technically gained a spot, but also so has Matt Bowler. So he will, look, it's a spot gain, but it's not quite what he would have wanted. He has a little bit of work to do towards the end of this race to get past Brett Loxton. So a couple of drivers with some overtakes to make.
Yeah, there's still definitely work to be done here, isn't there? And with only, well, what, a lap and a half left to go in this one, I don't think any of them have got any time for this. Chassis is just starting to fall away off the back here a little bit. Now, the promising thing for him is that as it sits right now, he's going to start well ahead of Matt Bowler for race number 3. So that's a positive. It's a good head start for him to get some points back in that final race, but he's going to have to actually hold on to it all the way through the end as we get the white flag. So the last lap now starts for race number 2. There it is, as our good friend Barry up on the stand waves the white flag. Matt Bowler leads this one and will probably take it all the way home from here. He's got almost a second over Will Buchanan, and that gap relatively small only because he's only just gotten in front after that incident with Billy Mole.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed up results, isn't it, in this race as a result of that incident with Billy Mole, who's continued to drop down. He's now 15th, so he is struggling now with that damage to that car. Josh Harris actually starts on provisional pole, so it's going to be another ADHD car that's going to be at the front of this grid. Hopefully, it doesn't end as bad as it did this time with Ryan Palmer. Look, I don't think any of that was Ryan Palmer's fault. He was sort of the meat in the sandwich, wasn't he? And this is Liam Jensen. So Koala on ADHD action. That's never a dull moment with these two teams. They always find a way to be battling each other, and Liam Jensen wants that 10th place spot just as bad as Josh Harris does. You're going to push each other all the way to the end here.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And look, I don't know who's going to take that one. What I do know is out in front, it's going to be Matt Bowler that takes this one as they come towards the line, followed by Will Buchanan, James Scott, Ryan Palmer. And it's a procession from there. James Shutsnow comes home in 6th. Josh Harris is just holding on to this one as they come to the final corner, but Jensen has the advantage up the inside of the hairpin, and it looks like, as they both get a little bit sideways, it looks like Jensen will take this one over Josh Harris at the death. Well, Harris has come back at the line though. He's made the dotted line. I think he's got that one by what looks like just 300th of a second.
Wow.
I don't know how he managed to pull that out of it, but it looks as though Josh Harris has actually clawed that back and will jump to the pole position. And given the little nudge along there from James Doyle, I wonder if Jensen just ran out of fuel and coughed a little bit there at the end. Is that perhaps what happened?
I don't know. That's very interesting one for sure. But Josh Harris, very, very close result and getting back at the death. Billy Mole will putter across the line. What should have been a much stronger result, but that unfortunate contact down at the bottom end of the back straight, and Dane Stanton will also cross the line. And so there's been a couple hard luck stories out there this evening, but that sets us up now. We've got a little bit of a break, 5-minute warm-up, and then we set up, we go again for one more time this season. Who comes out with the championship? The question we are all asking. I think Jared Cole, and I think the question I'm asking is as well, and I know a few people will be, what does it look like in terms of points now for these guys?
Well, let's take a look at the results from each of those races first of all, because that's going to be pretty telling. So from race 1, Matt Bowler comes out just a couple of spots ahead of Shasti. James Scott, Jamie Dyke, Brett Loxton, Thomas Hinds all in the mix there, with Snadden, Mole, Palmer and Buchanan rounding out the top 10 in race 1. In the AM Cup, Dean Power takes the spot over Simon Caplet. In race 2, as we've just seen, Matt Bowler fights his way through the front again, ahead of Buchanan and Scott and Palmer. Then Loxton and Shastanoff comes home in 6th place. Now keep in mind that each of these spots is worth generally about 3 points at the top end of things. We'll give it a moment to just have the championship standings updated, but this is pretty much how it stands after the first 2 races. Bear in mind this is provisional, but right now it looks as though the gap is only 7 points from Shasti to Bowler, and 7 points. That is 3 positions of difference. So we're gonna have to keep a close eye on exactly where they do look like finishing up in race 3 here. But yeah, there is not a lot in it. That is for certain.
There is not, and I'm currently doing my my research to figure out where find the point structure for the series, so we can.
I can tell you for the first, I think it's about the first 10 positions, it's 3 points per place, the difference. So being 7 points, if Chasti can finish, well, Bowler finishes 2 spots ahead of Chasti, he's not going to get enough points to take this. He's going to have to finish at least 3 spots ahead of Chasti to get the win in the end, which is, it's not impossible, but he's going to be starting from further back.
He is, and I've got the points on my screen now. I can see the points gap, so I'll be able to do live maths as they run. Because pretty much, 7th upwards is 3 points, and then after that goes to 2 points. So look, I'd suggest that these guys will both be 7th place upwards. But this is it's gonna be close between these two. Who comes out on top as champion? I will like to think that James Chastanoff is in a pretty strong position. I just feel like I've cursed him. I'm just going to touch wood real quick because I don't want to curse him, but he does seem to be in a strong spot.
He does. Well, bear with us, folks. We are going to take a quick break here while we try again to find a solution to the YouTube ingest issues that we're having. It does seem like the audio is coming through okay, so I hope you're enjoying the radio commentating that we're doing. Yeah, it's not ideal, and I promise you we are recording this race, so post-race we should have a beautifully recorded video of it that we can replace. So you can go back and take a look at all of these moments again, and not sure what's going on with the YouTube service tonight, but we'll see what we can find out. We've got just over a minute to go until they start gridding for race number 3, so do stick with us. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back, folks. It doesn't look like we've had much in the way of luck in getting YouTube to actually talk nicely to OBS at this stage. I have no idea what's going on with YouTube this evening, but we will continue to bring you live commentary, and we will, of course, have this video for you later on. The drivers are gridding up now for the final race of the night, so let's take a look at how they are gridded. Josh Harris and Thomas Hinds will take the front row of the grid, David Coleman and Ryan Nielsen on row number 2, then Shasti and Loxton in the middle of this grid. This is an important one because ahead of behind Chastanov rather, Ryan Palmer and James Scott, then Will Buchanan, but ahead of Matthew Bowler. So that is exactly where Chastanov wants to be starting, to try and keep Bowler in check as we make the run towards the final championship standings. Further back in the field, Jensen and Doyle ahead of Morris and Powell, then Mole and Snadden line up ahead of Scott Watts and Jamie Dyke, with Simon Caplet and Sam Cullen the last drivers on the grid for race 3. Another 19 laps here. It's going to go by in the blink of an eye, and we have a very, very close championship battle that we are watching.
It is very, very close. As you said, 3 spots. If Matt Bowler can get 3 spots on James Chastanov, it can be the change, it could change the championship result for these 2 drivers. And James Chastanov, you have to feel like he is in the box seat. He came in tonight 28 points ahead of his rival, but could be flipping the script. Josh Harris on the front row, another ADHD cut in front of this field. Hopefully he can hold on a bit longer than, or a bit, maybe he can take the win, unlike Ryan Palmer, who eventually lost those spots despite throwing everything at it that he could to stay at the front.
Well, we are just seconds away from getting underway. Starters' orders are now up, the lights are up, and we are about to go racing here for race number 3 as Harrison Hinds lead us off the line. A great start for Josh Harris, not so much for Thomas Hinds as we head on down towards the end of this longer straight for the first time here in race number 3. And geez, look how far spread out they are already. James Chastanov is up 1 spot and he's looking up the inside here to try and pick up another as the group comes through towards the fountain, still trying to get themselves sorted out. A little nudge of the wall in the background there for one of the koala cars as they're side by side into the fountain. We get all sorts of choked up, and one of the koala cars goes sideways, spins around. That looks like Jensen, who is off into the fountain, and we've got some more casualties as well. Jamie Dyke caught up in that, Scott Watts as well. Snadden, Morris also caught in it. Out in front, Josh Harris and David Coleman are almost side by side and still leading this one. Chastanov in 4th. He is only up 1. James Scott up 3 behind him. Importantly, Matt Bowler up 3, now 4 into 6th as he starts to close in on the front group as well.
It's an electric start. Look, the first 2 race starts were pretty tame, so eventually we had to have one that got the elbows out eventually. And this is, look, here goes James Chastanov. Oh, that's Ryan Nielsen, sorry. He's wasting no time getting up a spot. His teammate looks to follow him through. Ryan Palmer in the background also going for a move. Matt Bowler up into 6th place already, so he is only 1 spot behind his championship rival, and the car between him and his championship rival is his teammate in James Scott. So James will want to get past James will want to get past James squared, as quickly as possible here. Ryan Nielsen still in the foreground, battling away. This is great for Josh Harris, who's trying to skip away into the distance. Heavy under brakes. Nielsen, can he get the spot here from Coleman up the inside? We're following James Chastanov. Oh, Coleman's into the wall. He's made contact with James Scott. So there's multiple cars involved. And unfortunately, and that is Thomas Hinds as well that's been caught up in this. So that was into the wall after contact with Nielsen for Coleman. Coleman then took James Scott with him. The damage on James Scott's car yet to be confirmed. Jamie Dyke also looked like he might have been caught up in that. And who else? There was someone else that came through and unfortunately was part of that. Thomas Hinds as well. So here we go. David Coleman on the outside, gets it loose. Done it all on his own actually. Yeah, then bounces back off the wall and then clips a little bit, couple cars. And Thomas Hinds though has nowhere to go in that situation. Has to back it up to get it going again.
Yeah, that's a really, really rough spot to get caught out. Billy Mole just gets a little bit of a side swipe on the way through. Ben Morris has had an issue somewhere as well. Now, I don't know whether it was in the same incident, but he's found himself meatballed and off to the pits as well. So it's all happening here. We'll take a look and see if we can see what's happened to Ben Morris. Just out of the hairpin, because he just lined up, or he's tried to get to the pit entry, I think, and massive damage. He's actually blown the motor on the pit entry.
That is very unfortunate. The motor is gone for Ben Morris. Not good at all.
Look, he's backing his way out onto the track now, though, at least. And look, I guess the advantage of doing it there is that it's a very, very short tow time, if nothing else.
That's very true. You don't have to sit there for long because the pit lane's right there. So he's managed to get back and can continue on. But yeah, that's unfortunately, very disappointing. James Scott has lost another spot. He's losing multiple spots here. He's got to slow down when he's trying to serve. So trying to get that out of the way. This is Ryan Nielsen, James Chastanoff and Josh Harris. So now with a couple cars not as close by, they've been able to close back in. Matt Bowler is 1.6 seconds behind this group and trying to chase down his championship rival. He's lost his rear gunner in James Scott, but now we have Ryan Nielsen. Could we see maybe a positional change here? Ryan Nielsen just seems determined to get to the lead of this race, but could we see the team game played here maybe with Ryan Nielsen trying to help his Banter Alliance Racing teammate out to give him a chance at still just securing this championship by finishing ahead of Matt Bowler?
Well, we're still early on, lap 4 out of 19 as Bowler sets the fastest lap. He is absolutely motoring to catch this front three, and he's just about up to them now as it is, as David Coleman comes into the pits with a meatball flag. It looks like he might have had more issues as he's tried to limp it back around to the pits, which is not incredibly surprising. It was already pretty badly beaten up. So it wouldn't take much to bring on that meatball flag. Matt Bowler now onto the back of this group as Ryan Nielsen, is he moving over to allow Shasti through, and is he accidentally going to allow, no, he's going to allow Bowler through here as well potentially as Shasti and Bowler come to blows, and Ryan Nielsen just drops off the back. He's trying to go down the inside. Bowler's gone heavily down the inside as well to defend that, or maybe to try and set up a move on Shasti. I'm not quite sure which of the two it was, but Matt Bowler diving all over the shop. He knows how important it is for him to get ahead here. Chastity needs to be really careful. He actually doesn't need to be up at the very front of this race. He just needs to stay in touch with Bowler, and he needs to make sure that he stays in the race all the way to the end. That is the real challenge here of Chastity. There are not that many spots ahead of where they sit right now. And there's contact. Chastity's around. That's not what he wants to see happen. Bowler's taken him through the hairpin. I don't know what the stewards will make of that, but look at the spots that Chastanoff is dropping now. This is heartbreaking for James Chastanoff. He's back in 11th as he gets it rolling again. But if there's not something done around that one, if there's nothing in that by the stewards' determination, then that's it. That's the championship done. I will call it right now. It is a long, long way back for James Chastanoff, and short of something happening to Matt Bowler, I can't see it happening.
Yeah, that is very, very heartbreaking for James Chastanoff. I'm sure we'll have to go back and take a look at exactly what has happened there and try and get to the bottom of that. The stewards will look at that one, absolutely no doubt. But for James Chastanoff, he has so much work to do if he wants to come back to this field. Here we go, the iRacing Designs replay. So under brakes, here comes Matt Bowler around the outside, and then just a little bit of contact with James Chastanoff there. Looks to be okay at this stage. And then there's Ryan Nielsen as well. And then into the hairpin. What will happen here on exit? And I don't know. That's a tricky one.
Oh, that's a tough call.
Yeah, that's a very, very tough call, no doubt. All three of the drivers in race control will be looking at that one very, very closely.
Yeah, look, it's I will guarantee that the race control looking at it over and over again. My initial guess at that, although it's Bowler that's run into the side of Chastity, he's been run out of space to that wall, and I don't know where else he could have gone except on the brakes. And given that he was alongside Chastity through the corner, I don't know that he's necessarily required to. Yeah, that's a really rough one, and it's that sort of thing at this point in the championship that look, even getting into that battle was probably not the right call for Chastity either way.
Yeah, look, it's tricky, but at the same time, you're a race car driver. You want to be involved in these battles. You want to do something. No further action between 427 and 169. So there's no further action between Matt Bowler and James Chastanoff. Race control have determined that it's a racing incident. Play on. James Chastanoff, he might be a little bit frustrated by that, but there's not much he can do now.
No, and that's just about the championship wrapped up for Matt Bowler. I know we've still got 13 laps to go, but we've seen here over the last two races that we've had tonight already just how difficult it is to make any sort of pass here around Long Beach. Chastanoff needs to make a significant number of passes to get within distance of Bowler. I mean, what do we say? It's a 7-point game at this point. So he'll need to be, well, I think Chastain will need to be in probably 6th spot to have a hope of this. The maths isn't great. It might actually need to be 5th even to get to this if Bowler finishes 3rd, which means that at this point Chastain is a good 6 positions out of place, and that's a long way back. He's 9 seconds behind Matt Bowler right now, and where he needs to be, let's call it 5th place to be certain. He is currently 8 seconds off the back of James Scott.
Yeah, which is look, it's too far. There's a lot of work for him to do to get back to where he needs to be, and it's a big ask here from James Chastain. I've no doubt he is going to push on as we would expect he would, but Matt Bowler, Ryan Nielsen needs to really do his job now as the teammate of James Chastain and just hold him up as much as possible. Make that Banter Alliance car as wide as possible. You can see here that's what he's doing, defensively driving. He'll want to hold on to position anyway because you want to maximise your points and maximise your result, but more so than previous. He was actually right up behind, no, I think he's actually just gotten past Dean Powell into 10th. I thought he was closer to Jamie Dyke, but Chastain is up a spot, now has the task of working his way through this top 10, and it is a tall order if he wants to take the championship.
It's almost impossible at this stage. It really is. And you look at Matt Bowler as he continues to push on and try to progress through the field. I can't imagine that he's going to end up anywhere outside the top 3 at this point. It's I'm so disappointed for Chasty. For that to be how it comes undone. I would have loved to see a battle all the way to the end, but not to be tonight.
No, and it's heartbreaking. It's never how you want to see a championship decided at all. But this is racing, and these things happen. And for James Chastain, I think the biggest takeaway is that no matter what happens from here on in, he has been so quick and so consistent this evening. He has really set himself up as an absolute key contender in MC Motorsport, and hopefully we will see him bounce back next season, continue to push on and do what he does best no matter what, because we'd love to see him with the number 1 on the door. We'd love to see all these drivers with the number 1 on the door, but James Chastain, he has put his blood, sweat and tears into this, as they all have this season, and I would love nothing more than for Chastain to be in this little battle group right now, being a factor in the equation of what can happen. And unfortunately, he has now got the arduous task. He's closing in on Jamie Dyke, but just not quick enough. He did a 1:22.8 on the previous lap. Jamie Dyke did a 1:22.9. So, look, he is quick, but I just don't think he's quick enough to make any serious inroads from here.
No, it doesn't look that way. Can I just call out something we've been not giving a whole lot of regard to so far? Josh Harris, still out in front since the start of this race and enjoying it.
He's having a great time out there, isn't he? He's just on his own, minding his own business, having a wonderful time.
Tell you what, that is absolutely the way to approach any street circuit. Lots and lots of clean air around you. That is by far the safest place to be, as we keep an eye on Ryan Nielsen and Matt Bowler in 2nd and 3rd respectively. A little further back, James Scott, Brett Loxton, Will Buchanan just off the back of them, as well as we come through the Long Beach hairpin again. We're at the halfway point, more or less, of this final race of the night, and it's been contentious to say the least. I don't really know. I don't really know how it could have been decided any other way by race control. I think no further action is spot on in terms of the call there. It's just, geez, times like those you wish there was some kind of I don't know, override you could pull just to make it go all the way to the end and to have it decided. Oh, Josh Harris, it's our fault. We looked at him for just about the first time, and he's unfortunately had a bit of a moment, gone into the wall there somewhere, and has got himself now falling all the way back through. You can see the front end of that car is carrying just a bit of damage, and I think we probably owe Josh a beer for that, because he was doing beautifully out in front for the first half of this race. Now dropping back into 7th.
Again.
Look, we're nothing if not consistent, I suppose.
That's true. We are commentators of the people, and if we commentators curse one person, we have to keep in trend, and commentators curse pretty much everyone. And look, it's disappointing for Josh Harris. He was doing really well. This is 45-second time penalty for Thomas Hinds. Multiple unsafe rejoins on lap 2. So that's a very hefty time penalty for Thomas Hinds.
It is. Yeah, it absolutely is. It's on lap 2. I wonder where that was that we had that. Might I wonder if that was to do with the original issue back with David Coleman, even.
Potentially that. I thought that was turn 1, not turn 3, unless I'm looking at my corner numbers wrong.
No, that was absolutely turn 1. Although you can never tell how they name them, because it's American tracks and they apply numbers to kinks in the road sometimes. I think it might have been a little later on though, just after that. We'll jump back on the iRap Designs replay and take a look at this. So up to the inside comes Jamie Dyke, and then Hinds finds himself spun around there. Yeah, look, unfortunate. And what do you do at that point, I suppose? Yeah, look, that's rough for Thomas Hinds, but it's one of those corners, isn't it, where what else do you do at that point? You've got to just sit and wait it out, no matter how much you want to get going.
Yeah, that's right. There is not much you can do in that situation at all. You sort of just got to deal with it, and unfortunately, look, it's a hefty penalty. He will not be happy. Josh Harris is down to 15th now. He is struggling crucially for James Chastain now. If that gets him up another spot, he is right behind Jamie Dyke now. So he's really trying to throw everything at this. We've got about 7 laps to go when they cross the line, and James Chastain is desperate to get some spots back, but it's going to be a tall order for him. He needs to get onto the podium here if he wants to win this championship.
Oh, look, not quite the podium, but he needs to be no more than 2 spots back from Bowler. So with Bowler in second, he can get away with 4th. All of that is pretty academic when he's sitting in 9th currently, and in this group here behind James Doyle, Jamie Dyke. Chastain's gonna really struggle to pick up that number of spots in what's left of this race.
Yeah, it's big ask.
It's got to be impossible at this point, surely. I mean, there's things that can happen for sure, but yeah, it would take an absolute miracle. And so far, I don't think anything I've ever said as a commentator has managed to produce a miracle. It has produced plenty of issues for people, but I don't think I've ever managed to create a miracle by saying we need one. And I doubt tonight's going to be any different, sadly.
Yeah, I think disappointingly, it's look, we can hope and we can pray for a miracle. We can say to Nathan Allen, look, if you're listening, Nathan, I know he usually is. We love a safety car, but there's only so much you can do. Jamie Dyke is making that car very difficult to pass as well. He's actually trying to pass James Doyle at the same time. So there is, and that's a fair gap between Doyle and Ryan Palmer further up the road. So James Chastain, I think, is look, he's looking for a miracle here. Whether he gets it or not remains to be seen. But it's very disappointing for him either way, and my heart honestly breaks for him that this is the way he's going to lose the championship. He'll hopefully, no doubt, bounce back and come back next season even stronger. But you look at the caliber of drivers we have in this field. We've got Matt Bowler, James Scott, Will Buchanan, Ryan Palmer, Will Brown isn't here this evening, but he is right up there. Billy Mole's also been very quick. James Chastain, Jamie Dyke, look, the Brett Loxton. The list goes on. Ryan Nielsen currently leads this race. Sam Cullen, unfortunately, he's out tonight, but that's a little bit of wall contact there I just saw for James Doyle. So he'll lose 2 spots here. There's a little bit of contact with the wall, but look, there's so many high caliber drivers in this field, in this series, that James Chastain to be look, it doesn't make it any easier, doesn't make it any better, but to be second place out of so many drivers that are so talented and are so quick is no mean feat.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. It's been a tough race. It really has. The battle continues right throughout. We've got, you know, chassis caught up in this still, although he's managed to get out in front now, and the gap that he's got to make up here to get to fourth, it's 8 seconds with 5 laps to go. We've had a bunch of other changes right back throughout the field. Someone I will call out, Dean Powell. I've noticed that Simon Caplet not joining this final race here tonight, so it looks like Dean Powell has the AM Cup wrapped up here tonight. So he'll be celebrating. Really just needs to get home at this stage, sitting effectively mid-pack, so plenty of time and space to play with. So he will just need to come home over the next 5 laps, and that will be the AM Cup in the bag for Dean Powell and for Blackhawk Motorsport. So that's an awesome comeback, considering that Caplet was out in front for really the most part of the season. It's a shame for Simon. He's had a great season. He's driven really well as Powell picks up a bit of a slowdown there, but yeah, it's just been too much consistency for Dean Powell here.
Yeah, he's been really strong towards the back end of the season. Simon Caplet looked to be in a really good spot coming into the last few rounds after that break we had following the 12-hour. But he's come back and he's looked really strong. This is Josh Harris and Scott Watts battling away. Josh Harris trying to come back through the field after unfortunately losing the lead of this race. And he'll be very disappointed to now be in that position, but he's driven brilliantly this evening, hasn't he?
Look, his first half was probably a bit nicer than his second half of this race.
Yes, but
he'll be feeling a bit better about that.
It was, if we could double that first half, he would have had the perfect race. But look, he drove very well, and I believe that's all it takes. I think it's that easy, folks. If you just got to do really well in the first half, just do that in the second half as well. But no, he has driven spectacularly in the first half of that race, and unfortunately came undone due to the commentator's curse that we sadly continue to bestow upon the ADHD drivers, don't we? I think we just have a knack of, especially when sometimes we'll get away with it, but we never get away with it when it's an ADHD driver.
I mean, is that intentional or not? It's hard to say.
Look, depends on what day of the week you ask me, really.
It's true. It's very true.
My answer will vary.
Matt Bowler still just sitting in behind Ryan Nielsen at the moment. James Scott's right there as well, but I can't imagine Bowler's going to be pushing on too much harder at this point. He's going to be quite happy to finish in second if that's what it comes to. Scott has a bit of a slowdown incidentally as well. Billy Mole right on the back of Jamie Dyke as well. And James Chasnoff just a little further up ahead. And Robbie just checking in saying he feels a TikTok brewing. Yeah, look, I have heard a little bit about the old TikTok videos that the chassis is somewhat famous for. Am I not mistaken in talking about that? But yeah, look, I can't tell you much about it. I have successfully avoided TikTok so far, and I've got no reason to not continue that trend.
That's fair enough.
I'm an old man.
I am on TikTok. I have not been blessed with James Chasnoff's TikTok videos, but I'm sure I'll be going and searching this one up because I very much love a good racing TikTok. And look, if there's some content out there, I'll certainly go and consume it because I think it'll be an interesting one to watch for sure.
Matt Bowler is really throwing everything he's got at the moment at Ryan Nielsen. Now, I've got to wonder, I've just been watching these times across this front group, and they are starting to compress up a fair bit. Nielsen and Bowler out in front have still got, a little bit of a gap to James Scott after his slowdown, but Loxton, Palmer, Buchanan all starting to get just a little bit closer than they have been. I mean, look at the line just starting to compress up a little bit. I wonder if Nielsen is actually trying to hold Bowler up here, if this is just the tyres falling off a little bit from how hard they're pushing out in front. Because if he can hold this whole group up far enough, as Jamie Dyke, Billy Mole locks it up into the escape road, Nice little flick spin to get back out of there, but probably not the pass he had planned on that particular corner. Jamie Dykes sails off into the distance. James Doyle and Dean Powell both get through as well. Chassis still a long way back. You're talking, 6.5 seconds to Buchanan, and look, even if that top end of the field does compress a fair way, he has to get ahead of Loxton. So he's got, 7.5 seconds to make up in 2 laps. It can't be done at this point.
No, unfortunately, I think it is going to go the way of the man on our screen, Matt Bowler. And I don't know if it's necessarily the way either.
Palmer
The inside, Ryan Palmer into the wall. He's got to open the door for James Chastanalf. These guys are caught up. They're still trying to sort it out. James Chastanalf is right here now. There he is. And I thought maybe he could have got a couple more spots. It wouldn't have been enough, but it at least would have been something at the back end of this race. But yeah, Ryan Palmer sideways into the wall, and I think Brett Loxton sort of waited for him a little bit. But yeah, James Chastanalf, he'll try and get past these guys. If he does, it's struggling. He is struggling.
Yeah, and look, this is almost more brutal than where he was, because if he does get ahead of Loxton, then he effectively ends up 1 spot away from keeping his title hopes alive. That's if he finishes in 5th, if he can catch Loxton and get ahead, he's going to fall 1 position short by my math. We'll check it out at the end of this race, but geez, I almost feel like that's worse. Anyhow, 1 lap to go. Ryan Nielsen out in front, Matt Bowler in 2nd, James Scott in 3rd. Will Buchanan a long way further back in 4th, and that is where Chastanalf needs to get to on this final lap. It's been an awesome battle to finish off the season. This sprint round has thrown up its fair share of interesting moments throughout, and I have no doubt that we're going to be talking about that hairpin exit for quite some time after the race. I think the Discord is likely to light up. Oh, now there's an interesting point. David Coleman checking in. Will Buchanan has a 5-second penalty. Oh, that's going to be. He's still going to be too far out from Chastanalf. Yeah. Wow, that's
a wonderful point, but it's going to be absolutely heartbreaking, isn't it?
It's going to be so close. It's going to be so close. But it's just not going to be enough for Chastity tonight. Matt Bowler just has to hold on for a couple more corners here. Keep James Scott at bay. Ryan Nielsen just needs to bring this home, and it'll be a nice little win for him. But Matt Bowler, geez, what a drive tonight it's been. Some luck falling his way with the hairpin exit, and unfortunately for James Chastanalf, just coming off a little worse for there. But Ryan Nielsen will come across the line to take the win here in race number 3. Matt Bowler behind. James Scott takes the 3rd step on the podium, but that should mean that Matt Bowler will be your MCV8 Series champion here at Long Beach. It's come all the way down to the final race. We'll check the numbers out to be certain, but I'm pretty sure that is it. Ryan Nielsen will celebrate his race win, and rightly so. But Matt Bowler, I'll wait till we see the points finally come through, but I'm pretty certain we've done the math, and that will work out pretty nicely. Dean Powell celebrates his AM Cup win, and as he should, because he has driven brilliantly over the last few rounds and so consistently throughout the whole season as he just stays snattered while celebrating. Dean Powell absolutely earning that AM Cup victory as well. Unfortunately, Simon Caplet will be dropping to 2nd in that particular contest.
Well, I believe he was 2nd already, so he'll just remain in 2nd, unfortunately. But Dean Powell, well-deserved champion of the AM Cup class. Might see him get a promotion to Pro-Am for next season. Never know. Keep an eye on what that looks like for him. But for this man on your screen, Matt Bowler, he is driven beautifully. There is James Chastanalf.
Ryan Nielsen, actually.
Ryan Nielsen. Looks the same livery. There is James Chastanalf. And unfortunately, so close, yet so far this evening for him. And that is, heartbreaking. But for this man, he'll be very happy with the fact that he's come out away after such a hard-fought season with that championship.
Absolutely. As we leave them down on the track, let's get those final race results up and take a look through them, and then we can have a bit of a look at the final point standing pending any challenges and any protests that come through. Ryan Nielsen takes the win in race 3 though, ahead of Matt Bowler and James Scott. Will Buchanan and Brett Loxton, then Chastanov and Palmer ahead of Dyke, Doyle and Powell rounding out your top 10. Billy Mole and Liam Jensen behind them with Dane Stadden and Josh Harris in 13th and 14th. Watts and Hins 15th and 16th with Ben Morris and David Coleman in 17th and 18th as the first drivers to really fall off that lead lap. Simon Caplet and Sam Cullen not getting past the opening couple of laps there. It was it's definitely a tough one, and geez, what a way to finish off tonight's round. It was, yeah, look, a wild second and third race, particularly the third one. By our count though, this is how the championship stacks up at the end of the season, and it looks like Matt Bowler has it by 5 points in the end. So a close run thing all the way to the end. Both Bowler and Chastanov picking up lots and lots of points throughout the season. To be 200 points clear of third place for Will Buchanan is absolutely massive. But geez, what a result that one was. We've got a few drivers to have a bit of a chat to here this evening, and I think we might start off with our race winner for race number 3, and we'll bring him on into the booth. We are joined now by Ryan Nielsen. Ryan, you with us?
Yes, I am.
G'day, mate. Look, congratulations on the win there in race 3. That looked like a pretty hard-fought final race, but it's worked out pretty nicely for you to finish off the season.
Yeah. Hang on, just 1 sec. Let me mute the sim.
That's always the challenge, isn't it? Is being able to hear over all of the engine noise in the background, and certainly a problem I have all the time on the broadcast. Welcome on back in, mate. I'm hoping you can hear us a bit better now.
Yeah, clear as crystal.
That was a pretty tidy little result for you in the end, up 3 spots to take the win. Tough night of racing out there, it looked like. Were you expecting pretty much exactly that from Long Beach, or did it deliver even more?
Yeah, tough place to pass. So I didn't have much action in the first 2 races. I was sort of still working myself out in the first 2. But fortunately, when I got to the front in race 3, I knew it was hard to pass, so I felt pretty confident that I could hold those guys off.
Well, it's in the end looked like it was a relatively easy thing. I know Bowler was pushing on pretty hard right throughout that race. Look, the only question I've got, I suppose, is how much did the tyres have left in them after those 19 laps? Because it certainly felt from up in the commentary box like they were starting to fall off in a pretty big way for everyone by about lap 15. Is that what you were seeing out on track as well?
Almost, but my tyres were actually really good. I could still probably push them a little harder. I was babying them a little bit. And I was watching the mirror a bit, and I saw the guys start lighting them up a bit, so that sort of added to my confidence with 4 or 5 to go.
Well, you know what, mate? Take the confidence, take the win, take the points to finish off the season, and congratulations on some great results here across the 3 races in Long Beach.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cheers.
Before we let you go, anyone you want to say hello to?
Yes, I'll thank the guys at Banter Alliance Racing, the sponsors TACA Testing and Commissioning, Grundy's Waste, Frosty's Kitchen, One Sports Sportswear, the Locked On Podcast, and Riley Simmons Racing for supporting the group. And I'll just dedicate this win to my dog Ruby, who just passed away today. So,
mate, that is rough. I'm sorry to hear, and thoughts with you and the family. That's always tough, mate.
Oh, good. But thank you very much, guys. I appreciate what you do.
Go and celebrate it. We'll chat soon. Thanks for dropping by, Ryan.
Thank you. Cheers.
Ryan Nielsen takes out the win in race number 3. We'll go now to our AM Cup champion. He joins us in the booth now, Dean Power. G'day, mate.
Hey, mate. How you going?
Well, look, it's been a pretty hectic season for you, but in the end, putting it together with consistency and barring any massive miscalculations that I may have made here, it looks like the AM Cup Championship is yours by about 100 points tonight, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, no, it was it feels really good, actually. It's the sort of first league championship I've managed to get, so I was pretty pumped. Good.
And when did you feel like you really had it in the bag? Obviously, you were ahead of it coming into the last couple of rounds. Did you feel like you just had the consistency with these tracks that you knew pretty well, with Adelaide and Long Beach to finish it off?
I knew I had the pace, so just the first few rounds I just didn't do myself any favours, and I sort of made a call and went, look, you got to just finish these races and not get penalties, and sort of do that, and then that I just sort of managed to pull through a few rounds, and Adelaide wasn't my strongest, actually. Simon was probably a little bit quicker than me there, but I sort of just managed to stay within shot of him, and thankfully it was enough to get across the line in the end.
Mate, in the end, it looked actually fairly easy, and I think, a bit of bad luck maybe for Simon across a couple of rounds as well certainly didn't hurt your chances. But regardless, it's the consistency that pays off each and every time, and it's definitely paid off for you tonight, mate. So there'll be, I'm pretty sure, a trophy on its way to you sometime soon from the guys over at MC. Before we let you go, anyone you want to say hello to?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to give a big shout out to Simon. That was a good battle for the year. He sort of made me work hard for it, so it was good fun. Then just the boys that jump in the chat every week and help me out, Spot, sort of Luke, Burnsy, Brad, the boys at Black Hawk Motorsport, sort of been keeping a good eye out and helping me out. And then, just Madhouse Industries, for sponsoring the car, and that's about all, I think.
Dean, thanks so much for dropping in to have a chat to us, and congratulations on the championship for the season, mate. We'll let you go and celebrate, hey?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Dean Power takes out the AM Cup Championship and walks away from this season pretty happy, I reckon. It's hard not to be. But another man who'll be very, very happy is our pro champion for this season. We're joined in the booth now by Matt Bowler. G'day, Matt. How are you?
Oh, yeah, not too bad, boys.
Mate, that looked like a pretty hard-fought thing across those three races. How much were you counting down those points tonight?
Yeah, look, I had a rough estimate of sort of how many positions I needed to finish in front of him. I was just trying my best, and then obviously with the reverse top 10, I knew that's sort of where the points would be gained the most. So really had to go in those two races, but I kind of feel bad for Chastity with what I did at the final corner. Like, I had nowhere to go and accidentally turned him around. So it's not how you want to sort of take a championship off someone. You sort of want to beat them on track and win it that way. So I do feel incredibly sorry, and obviously no ill intent for anything like that. It was just hard racing. So Chastity had a great year, was super consistent the whole time, and he deserves it just as much as I do. So sad what happened, but obviously for myself, I'm pretty happy with gaining those points over three races. It's super stressful to get all that done and not put a foot wrong. So just super happy.
Mates, we had a very similar conversation in here in the booth when we saw it happen, and absolutely no intent in it. Just one of those things that happens when you go racing, but it's definitely not the way that I'm sure either of you wanted tonight to play out, because there was still another 10 or so laps of really good racing ahead that we were looking forward to. The battle unfolding. In the end, though, it's the way it goes, and it could have so easily have been your race ended by that one as well. So it's just the luck of the draw sometimes, mate. And I have no doubt that the Chastity will see it that way as well, and I'm sure you guys will chat about it as and where you need to. But mate, a very, very long season and a hard-fought one for you, coming back from a fair way further back down the field in the early rounds to get back to where you were. And just a massive congratulations from all of us here on the championship for this season of MCV8s. Anyone you want to say hello to or thank for the help along the way, mate?
Yeah, I'll just give a massive thanks to the Eclipse guys. Obviously Hayden wasn't there tonight, and I was talking to Ryan just before I jumped in here and said I probably made it a bit hard for myself taking him out at Hockenheim and ruining both our races there. So he'll probably egg me on about that still. But yeah, just a huge thanks to all the Eclipse guys, James as well from Chiefs for all his help as well, and Will from Revolution iRacing. Massive thanks to obviously Cortemp, our main sponsor, for everything they've done jumping on board this year. It's been awesome having them on board, and Sully and the team, it's been great. Massive thanks to obviously you guys for dedicating your Monday nights to watching us go around in circles. It's obviously much appreciated, and all the race control and the broadcasters are pretty top notch. So yeah, looking forward to next season, and yeah, just a massive thanks to you guys for putting it on.
Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for dropping on in. We're going to let you go and celebrate, and there will be a trophy on its way to you, no doubt, and very well earned. Congratulations, Matt.
Oh, huge. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Apollo takes out the championship at the death there, and Isaac, I can't think of a better time for it to have finished up, honestly. It's you never want to see a championship end 5 rounds in with someone so far ahead, so it's yeah, look, it's a shame the way that it did go, but you don't mind it coming down to the last race, hey?
No, absolutely
there
not. There we go. I am here. No, we don't mind it going down to the last race at all. I had issues with my microphone there. I don't know what was going on, but it seems that it says I'm putting input in, so hopefully you guys can hear me. But yeah, it's yeah. Look, as Matt said, you feel terrible for Chastity and the way that it happened, but it was racing. It was hard racing between the two of them, and unfortunately, what they wanted to settle out on track ended in tears, ended in heartbreak really for James Chastenough, and no doubt he'll bounce back next season. Looking forward to seeing what Matt Bowler can do next season. He's going to have a bigger target on his back coming into this brand new season, because he's got the number 1 on the door. So everyone will have their sights set on the reigning champion and what they can do to try and knock him off the top, and no doubt there'll be quite a considerable amount of drivers that'll be looking to do so.
Yeah, absolutely expecting that for sure. To speak with us actually about the upcoming season, on behalf of MC Motorsport, we are joined in the booth by admin and part-time ADHD racer Josh Harris. G'day, mate.
Hello, gents. How are we tonight?
Doing well. It's good to have you back in the booth once again. I know we spoke a little bit last week after the wrap-up of the MC GT3 Championship, but I figure, given that it is the official end of the first seasons for 2026, that we might get you back in and you can tell us a little bit about what to expect in the upcoming seasons of both the MCV8s and the GT3s.
Yeah, look, to be honest, things at MC continue to get bigger and bigger. It's an exciting time to be part of MC, I think. So starting in season 2 of 2026, still continuing with V8s on a Monday, GT3 on a Wednesday, but we're actually going to spice things up a little bit. We're going to go 3 classes in each. We've got this really fantastic spread of speed across all of our drivers in both of our main series. So we're going to have a Pro class, a Pro-Am and an Am, and we're going to divide them up a little bit better than we have this year. And we're really going to try and give everyone in the field something to fight for the entire championship. Both of our calendars are announced. They're pretty wild. We had some feedback on the V8 calendar in particular from some members of the public who thought that whichever one of the admin it was that came up with that calendar maybe consumed some illicit substances right before making it. But that should make it a lot of fun. There's a distinct street track flavour next season, with a sneaky trip to the Norsklaff thrown in there.
I do note there was no denial of those accusations, so we're going to take that as gospel, that there was absolutely some kind of assistance for whichever admin came up with that circuit layout.
I wonder which one that was.
Yeah,
we won't name them.
No, we won't name them. Won't name them, but yeah, look, it's always good to have a bit of controversy around the calendar for each and every season. Mate, it's been an awesome one this time around. We've got some great tracks on the calendar for next season in both GT3s and the V8. We're kicking it off towards the later stages of next month.
Middle of next month, 13th and 15th.
Middle late, same to me.
Yeah, 13th and 15th. It's another 10-week season. There's a couple of weeks in there once again where we have a night off for public holidays and things like that. But yeah, another 10-week season over 3 months, and then. I don't know that the GT3 boys have really fully decided what they're doing. But if you're on the fence about next season, jump in the Discord and get ready for season 3 of the V8s, because that's prime winter time. That is the best time for track conditions, and we are doing a distinctly Australian flavoured series in Series 3. So, yeah, jump onto the social media, find us through Facebook. Jared will probably put a link to our Discord in here.
There's already a link down below, absolutely.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic place to hang out. Most of the time it's just me and the other ADHD boys in the Koala Cartel talking absolute smack in all of the channels, but always a fun place to hang out. Come along, have a chat to us, meet us, come and join our practice sessions if you're not quite ready to race. And yeah, it's only going to be another 10 weeks, and we'll be back doing season 3. It's going to be a really fun year, gents. Lots of racing. This league is getting faster and faster and faster. We had to put a pro AM and an AM class in just so that us admin actually have something to race for, because we are rapidly falling down towards the back of the pack. Not because our skills are getting worse, I hope, but because, gee whiz, this is rapidly turning into a very fast league.
There's certainly been some very big names coming through already, and no doubt we'll see that continue as we get on to bigger and better seasons each and every time around. Josh, thanks as always for dropping by to have a chat to us on behalf of MC, and we're going to let you get back to it and probably decompress a bit after that last race. And
we're not talking about that, Jared.
A sincere apology from us for binning you, because the first time we looked at you really on that third race was about 3 corners before you went into a wall. So we'll take the blame on that one, mate.
Matt, I appreciate it. I did wonder. I put the foot on the brake at turn 1, and it just didn't slow down. So it is good to know that it was your fault, not mine.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. As always, good to chat to you, Josh. Thanks so much for dropping in.
Thanks, gents.
Well, Isaac, that will wrap us up here for tonight and for the first seasons with MC for this year, but certainly not the last. We've got plenty more racing action on the way, and we're straight back into it next week with the kickoff of the Alliance Sim Racing V8's new season. So stay tuned for that if you're around, and looking forward to hopefully getting these YouTube issues resolved before Tuesday next week, and we can kick that new season off in the appropriate style. As always, Isaac, thanks so much for being along this season, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the booth.
No, thank you very much. It's of course been a pleasure to be alongside you once again, Jared. I've always enjoyed getting to share the booth with yourself, and looking forward to hopefully being back. Well, I know for a fact I am back with you in ASR next season, and hopefully the same continues for MC Motorsport, because the racing is phenomenal, and really enjoying sharing the booth with yourself as well.
As always, a massive thank you to all of the sponsors of the racing here. It doesn't happen without the support of so many amazing businesses. Domains2U.com.au, once again supporting the MCV8 series as a major sponsor, and of course Everything Simulated, iRacing Designs and Sixpence Coffee on board as ongoing sponsors for MC Motorsport. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this to you again here this evening, folks at home. Thank you so much for tuning in and persevering through some pretty nasty connection issues. If you've been watching the live stream, we will have a recorded version of this up hopefully pretty soon, later on this evening in fact, that should deliver you the picture quality that you would be expecting from Simple Racing broadcasts. Until we see you again next time though, it is goodbye for now.